Hello, welcome back to Loud and Proud Orlando on a Monday night. We've got an interesting one for you guys. I had to watch the highlights today, Luis, of our game. I didn't watch the full game. I could not watch the full. I couldn't bring myself to do that. Usually I do, but for this one, the highlights was enough punishment for me. We're going to talk about that because we have to, and then we're going to talk about Tigres tomorrow night. So we're getting up on it really quick, which is great to see. So games back to back, with Champions League, it's all going on. Luis, how are you tonight, buddy?
Well, I mean, definitely. Obviously, everyone in the city beautiful is pretty upset at this result, and with all due, right. So I believe that they're right to be upset. You know, honestly, anything that it could have gone wrong for Orlando City this season, I think it occurred in this game. I would like to believe so, right? A lot to talk about. You saw two different teams. You saw a team on one side that knew how to play derbies, well seasoned, with leaders in each part of the field, very organized, and a completely decimated Orlando City. Orlando City has no leadership at the moment. There's no that hierarchy factor. Hierarchy is pretty important now in the MLS. This Inter Miami that lost almost every game in preseason, they came to this game and everyone in the league thought Orlando was going to put up a fight, and they did not. I honestly, my first impression, and I think I said it at the Lions Den space that they did, that they had too much respect for Inter Miami. And, you expect hierarchy and playability from your DPs. And those should be the ones carrying the team, and we just didn't get it. I felt like they played with too much respect to Messi, to Busquets, to Jordi Alba, and it seemed that we lost the ball tremendous. I think Cesar Araujo has probably his worst game of ever he's ever had with Orlando. So we need to get that right away, because tomorrow I'm traveling down and we're gonna face Tigres, a Mexican powerhouse that comes also ready to, you know, score on us and to make it difficult for us to play. And honestly, that back line, it was just horrible. It's just disastrous. I mean, you
Yeah, it wasn't great. We will get more into that in a bit, Luis. But first, I want to say thank you to everybody who's live and joins us. And I want you guys to drop your comments. We got a couple comments already that we'll kind of dive into. Davey C says, "Please discuss Cesar Araujo," which Luis you were just talking about. Noticed at the end of last season, he has become a biggest liability. He's turned the ball multiple games, like he did in Miami. Yeah, we'll definitely be talking about the midfield in a little bit. And then Herman, we can never say your name right, Herman. Sorry, Herman Obersloer. We need to find a way to phase Otero into goal. Pedro was exclamation point to a horrible sentence. I'm not going to argue that one. I think Luis himself will tell you Pedro did not have a good game at all. But before we deep dive into that, we're going to go a little bit into what happened before the game. I think the best thing I saw all day, right, Luis, was what happened before the game with some ref controversy. So I was sitting here at home, just getting ready on a Saturday morning, and I was watching on Twitter, and I see that it gets posted by MLS Ref Stats on Twitter. He posts all about the fact that there's pictures of the ref. I believe his name is Guilherme, Brazilian guy wearing Inter Miami jerseys. This then, I repost it. Then goes all over OC Twitter. It's getting reposted everywhere. Everybody did a good job to get this out there. And then within 2 hours, Pro had to go and change that ref. So we got in another guy, Jamie, who I believe hadn't ref since 2016 as the center ref. So a last minute scramble there, which was, probably the highlight of my whole day, Luis. Crazy, craziness going on there with the refs, and everything we got going on.
Yeah, it's disgraceful. The whole pro situation, putting amateur referees. I think everyone in the league is upset about that. And if you're not upset about that, then you just you just don't want the league to be better. And I think the way, especially myself, that I speak in a different language for a different podcast, and they don't know anything about the MLS. When you see this type of refereeing, it's like, is this the first world? I thought my league was shitty.
And that story went all over the world. Like by
Right.
midday, it was like in English news and obviously
Yeah.
South American news. And
So
um,
so yes, I know Brazilian people, and I know that also South Americans wear a lot of jerseys just to go out. But I mean, come on, it's obvious why they changed it, right? I mean,
I mean, I think you just the vetting process, you just
correct.
can't have that. So, whether he's going to be biased or not, it just you can't start the game by having the pictures have come out with the ref, because obviously we didn't play well. I'm never going to defend us. But if they had beat us, then, I'm not saying we use that as an excuse, but it would be an asterisk on them. So I think the ref was fine. I have no issues with the refing that we saw. Honestly, it was pretty decent. We
Can
were
you
more
hear me
focused on
okay?
our terrible performance.
Can you
I
hear
can
me
hear you
okay, John? Can you
okay.
hear me
Yeah, I
okay? It
can hear
says that
you
my
okay.
voice is in and out.
I don't know. Maybe
Is
that's
can you hear
on
me
your
okay?
end. I can hear you okay. Maybe that's
Okay.
going through to Twitter or something.
Oh,
We're
okay, okay.
okay here on YouTube.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you go ahead.
no, I mean, honestly, I mean, I do want to say that, the schedule didn't help, in my opinion. But also, I do want to be completely honest and objective here. I feel that they just had too much respect for Inter Miami. I still believe it. I still believe that they had too much respect for these cats, and they allowed them to get spaces and dominate, and got flustered and confused, especially like Dagger Dan, for example. So we didn't know if he was a right back or he was a D mid, and he was leaving spaces for Taylor to just go down that flank. Um,
I mean, I think I understand what you're saying about the respect thing, but I think that it was much more down to the fact that nothing went well for us and we lost the game plan in the first 10 minutes of the game
mhm.
and never recovered. And I think when that happens, it's difficult to come back,
Yeah,
and we never came back. And I think that whatever game plan Oscar had, we never saw that being either done well or achieved well at all, because the players were not able to do anything well, in my opinion. And for people to say like, oh, the tactics were bad, I would say I didn't see any tactics because we weren't able to keep the ball. We just gave it away, or we had nobody winning the ball back. Defensively, a nightmare. I just think there's a lack of composure there to ever even see us get to the point where we were able to use a tactic that perhaps Oscar had planned. I think that everything went out the window in the first 10 minutes. And when that happens, the rest of the game is just scrambling. It's not, okay, we're actually going through game plan A.
so the way I see it is, for this type of games that are derbies, the unpredictability, it's huge. So Orlando actually came as strong. A lot of people are saying, hey, Orlando may actually beat Miami, right? Um, but this is a mental game. These games are mental games. So, and these players from Miami, they are used to playing these type of games very well. Our players clearly don't have that pedigree. You know what I'm saying? They don't have the mental fortitude
I
and they
think they
showed
do,
it.
though. I think I disagree with that. I think
I,
they
I,
do
I,
have the
I
mental fortitude. I
they
think
they
they just
showed
didn't
it.
have it on Saturday. Like they were not there. It was
It's
not the
one thing
team
to
that we
beat
know.
Cavalry, and another thing is to beat Inter.
Agreed, but we've beaten big teams. It's not like this team that we saw came second in the East last year, beating plenty of big teams. So I don't really think that they don't have the mental fortitude. I think that they just completely failed on the day. I think that the team that usually we see was not there at all. And what we saw was just a bunch of errors, which led to very easy goals for Inter
Yeah,
Miami. I think more than anything, yes, obviously when you've got guys like Messi and Suarez, they're very good players. But if you give those guys the ball in your half, like what do you expect to happen? That's what we did for the first three goals. In the first 10 minutes, we gave them the ball so much, so high up in the field in our half. That's soccer suicide. I don't care if it's Miami, whoever it is. If you do that, there's no way you're going to win the game. You're just shooting yourself in the face.
well, I mean, I agree with you, but when I say that they did not have the mental fortitude, is they didn't have the mental fortitude for this game, and these games are derbies. You got to know how to play them. You got to know how to bother a Messi. You got to know how to piss off a Suarez. And unfortunately, I didn't see Martino Ojeda, neither Cesar and Rodrigo Schlegel at the level of bothering them at all whatsoever. Not even trying. I mean, and that to me is huge, which I feel in a way that maybe strong competition this early may help us out down the road, because again, guys, this is a long season. If if we are going to be ready to throw the season away out of this game, then let's just shut off the pot and just go and cry. We really we gotta move on. These are derbies. Sometimes even my team from Peru loses a final against an arch rival, and yes, it hurts, but you gotta move on. And I think these guys, they have, like John says, we have a great team. It's just that day, like in a derby, you gotta know how to play a derby. And I think that was the biggest mistake. Mentally, they weren't prepared. Facundo Torres should be our DP. He was pretty much letting Robert Taylor say, "Hey man, take over and pass me." Like it was just like that. That's what I got out of that game. And Pedro, yes, off game and all, but what else can he do? I mean, there was really
I
nothing he could.
think I think with Pedro though, he didn't make a save at all. And like I know he was put in horrible positions, but I think that his attempts at saving it's not good. Like he just has one arm most of the time. Like
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
I
but he
don't know if you've
probably got
noticed this about
tired.
Pedro Luis, but he doesn't commit with both arms. Like it's almost like he's got an unconventional way of saving, which works sometimes, but often he just throws one arm at something when a traditional goalkeeper would make a full dive. Does that make sense?
And what I'm saying is, yes, Pedro had an off performance, but but he probably, and this is assuming, I'm just saying, I'm assuming here, he probably said, "Yo, I'm effing tired of saving your ass. Why don't you do your job and freaking defend?" Right?
I agree that
I
he
mean,
was left
couldn't you see
out.
his face?
He's
I could
left
see it
out
in
to
his face.
dry, but he also did not play well. Like, you know what
Yeah,
I
I
mean?
know.
Like
I
there's
know he
times
didn't
when we
play
leave
well.
Pedro out to dry and he's able to bail us out. There was no bailing out from Pedro at all in this one.
And if we look at the starting 11, I could tell you, and I don't know if you agree with me or not, but and we'll read your comments in just a moment, so just be patient. Um, the double pivot didn't work in this game whatsoever. They both, I felt Wilder and Cesar were giving away the balls tremendously. I don't know if you felt like that too. The turnover rate
No,
was insane.
literally, I wrote in my notes in giant capital letters, there was no mid. Like
There
we
you go.
had apps like nothing going on. And we're gonna go through it a little bit later, goal by goal. I want to go
No,
through and
I have it right here.
dissect each of these things, but the common thread on every single one of those goals is Cesar and Wilder are not doing anything on the press. They're not closing down. They're not marking guys. They're just in no man's land in the middle of the field and very far apart often as well. Like the first goal is a prime example of Wilder trying to pass it to Cesar through like 3 Miami players, and then Cesar immediately gives it away. So that midfield was, and like you said, Luis, we expected to go out and harass them. Like the game plan we knew from Leagues Cup and we know is to go out and get in Miami's faces to,
Correct.
Close down Busquets, close down Gressel, close down Messi, close it. Like we need to be pressing as a unit. We need to be up every time. We need to get getting in their faces. We need to stopping them. We need to be blocking the passing lanes. None of that happened.
None of that happened.
I saw zero press as a team. I saw very, very little in terms of like interceptions. Like surprisingly, I was looking at the stats. Someone who obviously did not have a good night was Rodrigo Schlegel, but he actually had the most interceptions and recoveries on our team. Now the guy's got horrible positioning, but when Schlegel is the one winning those stats, like that should be Cesar, that should be Wilder. They were not able to recover that ball in the midfield at all.
Yeah, and that's what I'm, honestly, I mean, I want to believe that this was just a really horrible off game. Obviously, it's a rivalry match, is against Inter Miami. Inter fans, well, Fort Lauderdale and Miami fans have not seen soccer in so long. I understand that they're probably super hyped. I would be hyped too if I had Lionel Messi and Luis Suarez in my team, for sure. No pun intended on that. But clearly, our fans deserve better, and I do believe that after this game, I want to see a change of attitude. I felt they were very passive. Like you said, John, I expected Orlando, Inter grabbing the ball and Duncan coming pressing Busquets, right? We've seen this, and we've seen this. Or Facu going for trying to get the ball. So everybody compactly marking Inter and not allowing them to make plays. What happened, like you said, the turnover rate, especially in the mid, was horrendous. And, Busquets will turn to the middle to create. And then Julian Gressel will cut down the middle to create. And same with Diego Gomez. And same with Messi. He will play actually as a 10 with Luis Suarez at the 9. So, it's just everything was coming through the middle because they knew that was the weak spot. And these are veteran, players that play in the highest level of soccer. So understandable. One thing, and I don't know if you believe so or not, or you agree or not, Martin Ojeda. What are your thoughts regarding him? I kind of felt this was maybe a better game to start off with Nico Lodero. Not like Nico made a difference either, but I believe playing with some sort of experience would have helped a little. I don't know. What are your thoughts regarding that?
I think the problem was the ball, like, we just weren't even able to get to that point, if that makes most sense. Like, usually we got to have a few build-up passes before it even gets to the, Nico or Ojeda, who's in that sort of position in the 10. The ball wasn't even connecting up the field. So for me, it's hard to judge Ojeda. It's hard to judge like a lot of the attackers in this game, because I just feel like we never really got going and they never really generated anything. And the chances they did have, just weren't great chances. Our XG in this game was terrible. Yes, that's down to them, but I also think it's down to the fact that the whole team just played badly and we did not ever really get going, if that makes sense. Like, I think we just weren't able to see our game plan, like I said before. And because of that, it's hard to say whether Ojeda or Lodero would have been correct. I think maybe from an experience point of view, I agree definitely that Lodero would have been a better option over Ojeda for that reason. But I think that maybe Bercalo could have made a difference instead of Schlegel.
For sure. And he probably had
wasn't
a better
100%. So I respect Oscar for not putting him in if he's not 100%, like you said in the press.
Yeah, he was not 100%, and that's another thing that a lot of fans were saying. I was reading some also posts on Facebook and things like that. Then why do you hire somebody that's not 100% fit? And again, um, that's something for the front office to answer. But I do believe that he's a player that it's here to be a starter. Clearly, he's here, and unfortunately, he was not 100%. Now, Rodrigo's never has never had that bad of a game, like against Inter, right? And you know, he's our backup center back, so he got the job for this game if
I mean,
Verkala wasn't
like I
available.
said, we finished second last year with this
Yeah,
team.
yeah.
It's
So
not a bad team. Like honestly, it's not a team that loses 5-0 to anybody usually, right? Under Oscar's leadership, and not a team that completely, I think, as a unit, right, provided very little. Like I think that's probably the worst performance we've seen under Oscar, maybe ever, or definitely in the top three, I would say.
well, of course, because it is a derby, because it is against Inter, and
But
because of
just
the rivalry.
defensively, like we
I
didn't do any of
mean,
the things that we know under Oscar,
yeah,
like the
we
pressing, and we
had no
weren't hard to
backline.
play against at all.
We made DeAndre Yedlin look like Marcelo. We made Jordi Alba look like Jordi
Some
Alba
of
from
those
5 years
runs that they
ago.
were making.
Yeah, I mean, eh, let's hope. And again, and I say this to Orlando fans. In soccer, sometimes these type of results will occur, and as a fan base, we have to have the mental toughness to know who we are and not to cave in into pressure from the outside. You understand that Miami is going to be the darling of the MLS because the bucks are made because of Lionel Messi. Now, obviously, the season just started. We already faced them, and now we got to see when they come to Orlando. You know, hopefully he's not injured, right? And hopefully they make it here. But that's when we have to sell out Interco Stadium. We have to do our due diligence, and also the players need to be better. Hopefully they take this. And again, when I talked to Robin Jensen on that day, he was devastated. He looked like he wanted to punch a wall, and he couldn't do anything about it, and there was nothing I could say. And when I asked him, what are we going to do differently defensively against Tigres, he's like, I need to see the tape. Without me seeing the tape, I cannot tell you exactly what I can do. So, it is like that. So it is now, we just have to recompose and just go at it again against Tigres. Now, I mean, that's another thing that I'm pissed off is, now we threw away the US Open Cup, and, and we're putting all our eggs into this CONCACAF Champions League thing and Leagues Cup. Look, I don't know. It's We need to see a complete 360 of this team against Tigres. I don't know if I'm ready to see that yet, but
I the short turnaround is not. I think if we think about last year, and when we had this similar situation where we started a little slowly, I just hope that we don't take that long to get like really going in the league, or in like if it's Champions League, we're not going to be in it any longer if we perform like we did on Saturday. I'll tell you that right now.
now,
And the league, I just hope that we can improve. Like best case scenario, we come out and the boys learn their lessons and they do a complete 180, and we see the team that we know against Tigres, and the team that we saw against Tigres last year. Honestly, that's the team we need to see again. We made it very difficult for them.
well,
But I just don't know, like Luis, whether you can bounce back so easily from that
it's gonna
quickly.
be, we're always gonna remember this result. They're gonna always remember this result, but it's up to us as a team and as an ownership to definitely make it better. Now, we are a different beast than Miami. You have to understand. We are a different town than Miami. We are a different market than Miami. And within all of that, we have to prove that we're the soccer city of Florida. Right? These we don't let some cats that just watched soccer 2 years ago to come and take over. We and you go to Miami and you sit at a bar and you're listening to bachata and eating your little piqueos and things like that over there in South Beach. 2 years ago, you weren't thinking about Messi coming into Inter Miami. So now we gotta be ready, mentally ready to know that that's gonna be remembered, and we gotta just move forward. And the only way to forget this result is to keep winning. That's it. Because in the end, they could have won to us 5-0 today, or yesterday, or that day, whatever the day. I don't even remember. I didn't even want to remember the day that this happened. But if we win the Supporters Shield still, or we go through the on the Conca Champions, and we go through and they don't, that's gonna make a more of a buzz.
Oh, I mean, for sure. There's no reason why we can't come back from this. It's just, I think whenever you lose that heavily to your rival, it's just a massive blow. And I think mentally, we need some fortitude from the boys to bounce back quickly, and we need that to happen, like I said, in a short amount of time. So, Oscar's is a good motivator when he needs to be. I know he got them in training, right? We got reports of that he was getting them in on Sunday, probably to watch the tape and go through where they went wrong. But they watched the tape on Montreal, and then we still started badly. Like, that's a trend. Something I tweeted about is that every game we've seen, right, even in the cavalry games, we have not started games well. And I think that's a real issue for me. So tomorrow night when we're watching the Tigres game, we got to start well. We've got to come out with some confidence, move the ball around, get our flow in that first sort of 10, 15, 20 minutes. If we don't do that, I'm already thinking it's going to be an L.
Yeah,
Luis,
we need
that's the two different teams that we see under Oscar. Like, it was the same against, remember the Columbus 4-3 game
right.
that we came back, but we started that game horribly, right? Like, and that's why I was a little bit of hope against Miami. I was like, oh, maybe we'll figure it out in the second half.
Yeah, same here.
Maybe we'll figure it out after the first goal. The second goal, we never figured it out. But if we let them, at Tigres go up, it's going to be even harder to come back. But more importantly, we need to show from the starting whistle that we can start a game well, instead of just waiting until I don't know, sometimes more often than not, the second half is what we've seen this season so far, that we've only been good really in the second half of games.
Yeah, we need to see our DPs truly being more vocal on the pitch. I'm not gonna expect for Duncan to be vocal, like, hey guys, push it through, pass me the ball, mother. You saw how Luis Suarez was talking back to the ref. You saw how Robert Taylor was complaining and pushing through the team and all of that. Diego Gomez going like this. So that shows a little bit of edge and leadership. That's what we need to see from our squad as well. We need to see them getting involved in the game and show, why they are DPs, and like what Nani used to do. Nani used to do that all the time, and sometimes even take the bull by the horns and win games by himself. So we need to see that.
I do think that Duncan over Muriel was an interesting one. Assuming that Muriel was fit, I think he could have been a guy that I'd like to start, and not Duncan. Definitely tomorrow, but we'll go on to that. First of all, let's go through the highlights and go through goal by goal. I made some notes, Luis.
You want me to read some comments first?
Some suffrage. Yeah, we'll read comments first.
All right, Gnocchi, realize the facts. Miami had a bye and then an EC if Nash doesn't have any. Hani Mukhtar. No tough MX team. There you go.
He's
Thank
talking
you.
about Miami's easy situation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, clearly, I mean, they have six games to rest. Obviously, I mean, and look what they can do with 6 games to rest. That is impressive, right? Nani was still elite when he came to Orlando. He still needed more help back then. Correct. Tank. Frank the Tank. GoTube TV. We need the leaders to bring the attitude up. Unas carajeadas. That's right. Miami, lo voy a decir así en español. Miami, sinceramente, me llega al shopping. Así. No me gusta. Yo solo voy a Miami a comer ceviche, papá. Después de Miami al poto, papá. No existe. Lo digo así,
Yeah.
¿ah? Un saludo a GolTube. It says landing, more history than you. For sure, we need to show that. Here, right here, it shows we had the Fusion. Y'all had no one back then. Yeah, y'all have a Miami Sound Machine too, and the Fusion, great team, the Fusion, right? Y'all are the soccer team of Florida, but we're the football squad of MLS. But I mean, yeah, that's great. I mean, it's fantastic. I guess that's a good way to put it. But it's soccer, right? I mean, unless I'm in Peru or in Colombia, I didn't know we call it football. Club de foot. Or we're ready to be like Montreal, club of foot. Club of foot.
Let's go through the highlights, Luis, and rewatch this fun goal by goal. Hey,
Let's see. So this is the lineup right here, right?
Yep.
Here we go.
So this is 3 minutes in.
Yeah,
First
3 minutes
highlight.
in. And
you want to give us your
Cartagena
thoughts?
doesn't even press. Look at
that. I wrote down, where the hell is Santos?
Exactly.
Honestly, like, I tried to look for him. There's another angle.
He's right here. Look.
That's not Santos, though. That's what I thought too. He's miles away. He's absolutely miles away.
So that means that he's running offensively, but not coming back in position.
We gave away the ball, and he was already up the field as if he was going to get the ball,
right,
and completely out of position on this one. So Janssen, can't mark two people. But not only that, the trend of every goal, which everybody has to see, Suarez completely unmarked, sitting in the middle of the 18, just nobody anywhere near. 3 guys, but none of them marking Suarez. I also put on this one that Cesar with the pass is basically a no-look pass. It's a classic Cesar, like, I'm not even going to lift my head up for this one. And he just gives it straight to I think, Gressel.
Yeah. And so it goes like this. And then look at the space, man.
I mean, Janssen is basically where he's supposed to be. He's caught between having no left back, and he's the left center back. If he goes to Suarez, he's trying to be in the way of the cross from Gressel. Schlegel or Wilder or someone has to pick up Suarez there. It's amazing to me how often he's unmarked.
So it was just that decision, Robin. It's either I go get Gressel, or I have Suarez right here. So he didn't know what to do. He thought maybe someone was going to be with Suarez, and no one was with Suarez.
And that's
clearly
another theme.
He's not going to multitask. He's going to do the
Janssen
Naruto.
Can't be everywhere. Every single one of these highlights is like Janssen trying to be in the right place or trying to make a goal line save. He's the only one who's in the right position, and he's getting screwed over every single time.
He cannot do the multiplication jutsu, right, from Naruto. He's not going to multiply.
I mean, he's great,
just
but
try to get,
five of him.
Right. And so obviously you give a quality world-class player like Luis Suarez,
unmarked in the box.
Unmarked in the box. So you guys are telling me here, every single person eating their Doritos right now, drinking their Yingling, that's watching this right now, you're telling me that Galesa could have saved this?
No, I'm not gonna say he could save this. I just think his technique sometimes I question with the one-handed I would like to see him use both hands in the same direction one time. That's just me. And I think this one, more than any of them, is, impossible to save
Right.
because it's a
It is
one
pretty
hit
much.
first time from Luis Suarez. I'm just saying from this game, he didn't have, the stats from what I see is 0 saves. Now they had more than 5 shots, so I don't really understand that entirely. It seems like maybe there was some blocks, but it wasn't a great day for Pedro, even though he did get screwed by having no defense.
Now, I do want to say that we're not going to this whole thing about the MLS be worn. We have woken a sleeping giant. This is gonna end by May, probably April, because this team without those old guys, Colorado can beat them. I'm telling you right now. And that's what's going to happen, and eventually.
Well, sure, they're not going to be around all the time. It's just
And
they
next
were
year
against us,
we
and
may
in this
see
game, and they played
Suarez
well.
retire. Suarez may retire. I mean, he's physically horrible.
Should we go on to goal 2?
Yeah, let's do it.
Another Suarez goal, Gressel assist. It seemed to be a trend here with Gressel not being
right here. Look.
Suarez not
This
being
is
picked
this
up.
is the play right here. Literally, Araujo loses the ball.
Yep.
And against who? Suarez.
And
Who's
that's
a
the
national hero in
pass that
Uruguay?
I was talking about. He doesn't lift his head up at all.
Okay, but who's a national hero in Uruguay? Luis Suarez. Who's from Uruguay in Orlando City? Cesar Araujo. Who represented Uruguay national under-23 team? Cesar Araujo. Who would like to someday share a locker room with Luis Suarez? Or say, hey, I play against Luis Suarez? Cesar Araujo. What Cesar Araujo needs to do there is destroy Suarez, break his knee. I'm serious. Have a little bit of malice. Play with a little bit. You play derbies like that. When Ronaldo and Messi will face each other in derbies, they play with malice. You gotta be a mean guy. You gotta be a bad guy here. And we were pans, man. We were just standing
We were
there, soft. And look, pick up Messi, completely open. Where is look? Here's Rafa Santos, right? Rafa Santos. That's 2 right there, right, John?
Yeah, I mean, this is the first goal still in the highlight, but
Okay,
it's
that's the first goal. Okay.
it was Santos again. It was not anywhere near on another goal as well. So the
Okay,
second
here you
goal,
go. That's the second goal. Right
you can get confused because this is basically the same thing. A Gressel assist to Schlegel, but to Suarez, but this one is all Schlegel's fault because he gets suckered in and comes flying out of position.
Yeah.
And then Gressel, this one I think is probably the best, most technical goal that Miami score. It's I think this goal could be scored against us in any game by several teams. I just think that when you've got, again, Suarez not being marked in the middle and allowed to make these passes, and Gressel not being marked and allowed to connect with him, it literally just happened 3 minutes ago. This is in the 10th or in the 3rd minute. This is in the 10th minute.
Okay.
Learn from your mistakes. Get on the player that scored the goal. Get on the guy that gave the assist.
Right there, Cartagena needs to go for the leg.
Well, Cartagena makes I don't know what kind of challenge it is, but he tries to get the ball and then proceeds to fall over like he's going to get the foul.
Exactly.
And Suarez just goes, "Thanks, I'll keep that."
Exactly.
And plays a 1-2 with Gressel and bangs it in the bottom corner. It's Wilder and Schlegel, this one.
So
I mean,
right
it's all of us, but it's mainly Wilder and Schlegel.
Look, right there you have 2 D mids, one guy that's 35 years old with half a knee, okay? And you have your DP right back, or no, your DP right there, okay? You're telling me that Cartagena can go for the kill right there on that leg, neither Araujo can just get out of position and press, or even Facundo, that's behind him, press from behind. What are you so afraid of pressing from behind? What, you think you're going to get a yellow card? But those are the gambles you got to take. That's what separates you from an average, normal player from a player with an edge, a leader in there. You got to show Suarez that you're there also to play the game. And to me, that's why I'm saying that they play with too much respect. Look at this.
Well, we just way too
Look
much
at this.
space for
No
them.
one.
Not picking up the
I don't see
players.
no one hitting Suarez there.
Oh, that's every goal. No one's marking Suarez. Suarez was allow too much
Those
jogging.
are how derbies are played.
On to goal 3. This was Robert Taylor with an assist from Luis Suarez. This one, I think Pedro was trying to find Angulo, and the ball never gets to Angulo. It's picked up, but I think more is the midfield here. Gressel picks up the ball and just basically runs straight through the mid, and then plays a pass right through the middle of our team.
Look up.
Schlegel we're playing this high line, which was part of the suicidal tactics, I believe. I don't know what that was, but we don't have a fast back line. And you look where we are there, Luis, when we lose the ball. You're playing the offside trap. You gotta make sure your offside trap is good, and Schlegel is not where he should be. And not only that, if you play an offside trap this high up the field against a team like this, you have to nail it every single time, because if not, this is the easiest goal. And this one just shows, like, look at this. He goes straight through the middle of our midfield. Suarez is then, Schlegel's a half step too late on the they all throw their arms up, but at this point it's all too late, and Suarez doesn't even have to. Yeah, that was like a FIFA goal right there, buddy, where you just pass it across the keeper. I mean, that sucks to see.
No, one thing I am going to say that I think this is what really affected us. 45 people live. Thank you so much. Drop us a thumbs up. I think Pareja, and I'm going to say this, and you guys are saying, oh, but you're Papi in. You can be saying that. Well, I think he wanted to play he wanted to contend against Inter and play. And because if you see on that play right here, right on that play right here, on that play right here for the goal for Robert Taylor, right here. Okay, so it would have been better to have our back 4 static right there. Like, do not move out of position. Stay right there. And actually, you have your forwards defending. I think if Orlando will play more conservative in this game, we're going to have some games that we do play this way. And it's probably going to be better for us to go off the counter. And I think because we try to play also offensively against this team, our backline it was too forward. And when they tried to do the offside trap, like John said, we completely flunked it.
It wasn't just forward, but it was so spread out. Like, I've never, like Jansen said, we weren't compact. I'm like, not compact. There was like 1,000 yards of space. Like, not only the back line, but Cesar and Wilder were not compact. They were miles away from each other. I felt like everybody was really spread out. And I think that you're right. I think there was a certain amount of Austria wanted to be the possession team, like, and wanted to play a high line and wanted to keep the ball and work it around. And I gotta say, I think against Messi, I think that's a bold strategy, because you're then saying that our team is better at possessing the ball than a team that has the likes of Messi and Busquets and Gressel. I don't think that's right. I'm sorry. I don't think that's against other teams at home. Yeah, sure, that could be our strength or sometimes our weakness. I would love to have seen us put in some lines of 4, sit like a little deeper, frustrate them, and hit them on the counter. But in order to do that, Luis, we have to go back to what we know and be that gritty team that we talked about. Like we talked about with Franco. Like, we're going to get in your faces. We're going to frustrate you. We're going to we didn't do any of that.
Right, but that was, John, one of. So if we would have played conservatively and play off the counter to counter Miami, play a little bit more behind, very static, our back four being compact right there, do not move out of position, we probably got to had a better chance to maybe not this for to be 5-0. It would have maybe end up 3-0, but not 5-0. That's what I'm trying to say. And I do
Agreed.
agree with you that attitude needed to be better positioning. Look at Dagger Dan right there, completely off position. He was, I guess, thinking that he was gonna just help out Messi or
It's
something.
like he told our wing back, like our fullbacks, to go just be. I don't know. It's a bit suicidal again.
And Faku, and I'm sorry, we need to see. And I know he's never been this. And again, he's never been this player, even in Uruguay. He's always been that flashy, smiley, cool kid on the block, making those cool free kicks and the little, good goals and doing the selfies and things like that. But we need to see more of like a shit. I'm Facundo Torres. Like, if it's not now that I'm 20 something years old, it's never going to be this way. I need to show more grit. Look, he's just there jogging, dude.
I mean, that was a lot of the highlights are guys jogging into position, jogging back.
Yeah.
The lack of determination
Yeah.
is quite evident in some of these highlights.
And there you go. So that's the third, right?
Yeah, let's go to the second half and quickly go through the Messi goals. So this goal, I mean, first of all, I don't know why we're just letting Jordi Alba run all the way from left back straight through our midfield, but that's what he does. And then he makes basically does a chip, and that goes right into the bottom corner where Janssen then managed to try to clear it, and it hits the bar and drops down, and by which point Messi is on the line, and it almost looks like Messi just kind of waits a second, like he's teasing us, watching the ball. And I think Schlegel or someone like pulls his jersey. But yeah, again, what looked like another FIFA goal, not because it was so easy, but almost because it was like that. Oh, look, you cleared it. No, wait, you didn't. And it went in anyway.
No, let's press play. Now, right there, I'm going to tell you, and again, this is the thing that I keep saying this. They're afraid of fouling people or going to get the ball. I mean, that's where
this is the Gressel hitting the bar highlight, though. Hold on.
This is them being passive, in my opinion. This is completely being passive. I think what's his name? Vinny Jr. right here should have at least attempt to get the ball away from, he was right there and he's fast. And then obviously Rafa Santos completely let him through. Nothing to do right there. And I think Galese was too forward, in my opinion. I think he was out of position.
Yeah,
and they're just looking.
Smacks the bar with this one, so it's pretty lucky that it doesn't go in. That could have been number 4 easily.
There you go.
On
Busquets,
the next one, you'll see.
That's with Lodero. Like, why is Lodero not like?
Well, he came in, and I thought we were going to maybe get a bit more, right? Obviously, our midfield was having a horrible time. Like, some reliable legs. And Lodero just seemed to give the ball as well, which was crazy to see. I've never, I wouldn't put him in the camp of a guy who just gives the ball away, but he did that a few times in this one.
These games, derbies, you got to be ready to have 3 men with yellow cards and maybe play with 10 men. But at least if you did that and you lost only maybe 2-1, people are going to still clap. Or even if you, let's say, won with 10 men, that's what derbies are all about. But when you are passive and you just let them do what they want, like right there, look, Lodero, just watch him passing the ball.
Too much ball watching.
Right there. Look at
That's an incredible attempt to clear the ball off the line, and it shows his determination. But it's just sort of that day where even that came back for Messi to put an easy tap in.
Look, there I want to see Dagger Dan saying, hey, you know what? A la Madrid. Like straight up, I'm going to state in his face, I'm Orlando all the way, baby. Boom. Okay. Bye. Lodeiro, I won a cup from Sanders. I want to be remembered in the league as a freaking lion, you know? Oh, no, I'm just going to let him go through. Hey, I'm Cesar Araujo. I'm with the under 23 Uruguayan national team. Hey, I'm going to take the ball away from this guy. Nothing. You know, and then Schlegel, obviously, he's limited. He doesn't move that fast. He's
Well,
already
by that point,
it was
they're
a
just walking through us,
correct.
and we got 3 defenders on the wrong side of the ball, and no one's made a challenge.
Yeah. And what's Galeza going to do? He couldn't do anything there.
Oh, that one was nothing you can do on that one. No, not at all. The fifth goal, again, Suarez, like just completely unmarked. He's able to play a 1-2, and then looks for Messi again, unmarked. Messi unmarked at the back, gives away the ball. Like, go back a little bit, Luis. You'll see Schlegel is making a David Luiz style, going on an adventure run.
What is he doing?
Look where
there?
he is now. He's on the other side. He's literally in the mid, and he gives away the ball so high up the field for a center back. And now he has to recover, and Diego Gomez essentially just immediately takes the ball, passes it through our entire team directly into the space where he knows Schlegel isn't, because Schlegel just gave him the ball.
And he also sees Dagger off position. You know?
I mean, that for me is where Schlegel has, and Tank said it here, Schlegel's lost his mind. I agree. I think at that point he just, I don't know what you're trying to do, buddy, but you're not a striker. And just because we're 5 goals down doesn't mean you can run all the way into the top of the field and act like you're a striker.
Look, I do want to say that maybe he felt he needed to be, I guess he maybe realized, hey, yeah, this team has no bite right now. Shit, let me be the hero one more time. You know what I mean? And maybe
that's not what we
tried
need him to do.
And the thing is, also, I feel the system allowed for the backline to be too forward. And with players of that caliber, with 6 days of rest, I feel like they were in the hyperbolic time chamber with Gohan and Goku about to fight Cell. You know, they completely boosted themselves. No one expected them to be this good, but you gotta be prepared for that to happen at some point. And I think us playing our backline too extremely forward, I guess he just felt, hey, maybe I can do this and play forward. And that's what Schlegel did. I mean, I'm not trying to defend him. I'm just saying that's probably what he thought. And he completely botched it because he's not skillful.
It's the wrong thing to do. And it's, but also I think at that point, it didn't matter what we did, because we just.
It cannot get any worse than this. So.
Sure. We hit bottom with a 5-0 loss to Miami.
You can truly, just like we just did, they could truly sit there in a beautiful room right there at OHP with a high-tech, screen TV, and go and see we cannot do this against Tigres, because Tigres, just like Inter, they have really good players in the attacking third that are going to punish you like this. So you cannot play that forward. Know your role. We gotta know against who we're playing. We cannot play everybody the same, or say, hey, we're playing at home, we're gonna be protagonists against Miami with Messi, against some teams that have probably a little bit of a plays with a little bit more of a pedigree. You gotta be smarter than that. That's just my opinion. I don't know what you think, John, there.
I agree. And I think that's why he called them in for Sunday, was to be like, we're reviewing the tape right now because we got to get that defensive grit back before Tigres. Like, if we go out and we do the same thing, it's going to be even more for Tigres than Miami. Honestly, I could see them, so I don't think that's going to be the case, but I do think Oscar will potentially revert to type a little bit, in the sense that he might go back to being a bit more defensive, maybe a bit more of the classic Oscar that we've seen, out of a sort of necessity to be like, I got to make sure my team doesn't concede, and then maybe we can figure out how to score some goals, because that's the other thing, Luis. It's been 180 minutes in MLS, and we haven't scored a goal. That's another concern, which should also be a major highlight.
So I will give you a little bit of a scoop here. Orlando, after the game with Tigres, after Orlando's done facing Tigres, even in Mexico, approximately Orlando will have 9,700 miles for matches in 21 days of the season, playing roughly every 60 hours. I do want to thank the mainland for the data. To my boy Michael Citro right there and everybody there at the mainland. 9,700 miles in the first 21 days.
I think it's crazy that we have to play this
Playing
many games,
roughly every
do all this
60.
travel in this early in the season. I mean, it would never happen in Europe, but it's just the American Champions League and the MLS system, and we kind of got screwed a little bit by extra distance on that Canada trip. It could have been nicer to us, but sometimes that's the way it falls. Let's go on to Tigres, Luis, because we're hitting an hour, and we haven't even talked about them. So we gotta get into that. This one's going to be a long one, but I think we knew that, guys, after after we had to dissect and talk about the
we
Miami
got
punishment.
the people. We got want to thank Tank from Inter Miami that was in here too. He was commenting. What are your comments in just a moment? Here are the players that are going to be pretty much have been called up for the team against Orlando. There are some names that we kind of remember. I know you guys remember Purata, the former Atlanta center back.
Linus Juniak, of course.
Yep.
Yep. Quinones.
Yep. Quinones. You have Aquino, Pizarro. So I mean, these are a very similar team that we played last. What do we got to do is just. I feel defensively we have to be better than what we did against Inter. I'm sure Tigres has seen the game against Inter, and they're going to try to capitalize on some similar plays. We just got to be ready.
I saw a few posts saying they actually saved some guys, and they lost their last game 2-1 to Toluca. They had what seems to me like their first team out, so I'm not sure where that came out, but they've got Ibanez and Cordova, and Samir obviously is a number one guy for them. It looks to me like they played their first team on Saturday, so hopefully that means they are not 100% and maybe are a little bit tired. That would be great, but also we're going to be tired. So how much of an advantage is that? I don't really know. Like you said, Luis, for me, the most important thing is that we are the beginning of the game. For me personally, I want to see us start well, but also we need to be defensively solid. We need to be gritty. We need to be everything that we know an Austria team should be. And under years, it was very defensive. Then last year we kind of opened up a little bit more and became more of an attacking team. But we didn't lose that defensive grit. We didn't lose what made us, right? We didn't lose that Oscar Pereira sort of pappy ball. We just added a little bit of attacking flair. We need to get that back for this game. Honestly, I think if everybody has ever wanted a 1-0 ever in their life, it would be me in this game. If they don't get in the away goal, that makes our lives so much easier. And I think that would be the best result, a sort of 1-0 Oscar special. We hold it down, fend them off, manage to steal a goal.
Now, I agree with you in a sense that we got to play conservative with this team. We need to play definitely very conservative.
Not only that, we just need to play conservative because of what happened on Saturday.
Yeah, and we got to also be prepared. So let's say we draw here. We draw 0-0, right? Very, very choppy game. We're going to be playing in one of the loudest, and we've played there before, loudest, craziest place in Mexico that are also ready for a Orlando Part 2, the fan base there. So we got to be mentally strong too. That's why I think having that really big bulky result against Inter, we need to turn that page. We don't have a lot of time. And if we do make the heroics, we make the heroics and we beat them in their own home turf, even if it's with a goal or an ugly goal, but we decide to we go through that round, I think the fan base here are gonna just forget what happened. I know they won't forget totally, but it will be a little bit of a okay. There is a change of attitude. There's some hope here. I'm not gonna give away my seats.
I
Right?
think the good thing about having Tigres now is it's like you got to react positively, and you have to react positively now. If you don't do that, then we're out of the Champions League, and we're gonna go focus on MLS and improving, and then we'll see where that goes. If we do like perform well against Tigres, and then we do it again next Tuesday, we manage to knock them out, the level of confidence that we'll have from doing that will be so massive that then we'll be like, okay, yes, we can go and do more in the Champions League. Like we look like we're a real contender in the Champions League if we knock out Tigres. Right now, it's looking like number one, where we're just going to be out of the Champions League immediately. If we play like we did against Miami, that's 100% going to happen. So it's sort of like a do or die scenario right now. Does that make sense? Either we turn it around immediately, or I think the Champions League is probably over, because if we go into this game with a similar form as last game, they're going to score 2 or 3 goals, and we're never going to recover from that with the away goal rule.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. And today Oscar and Martin Ojeda spoke with media for the Champions Cup. And they look like they've turned the page, and they're ready to get back in good graces with the fan base, because I know for the fan base this really hurts. I mean, to me, just covering the team, I feel so, like, honestly, I've watched many games in the MLS. I'll be honest with you. I've covered many games, even from my own home club in Peru, I'm telling you. But this last game, it was like a knife, like, just, like, you know what I mean?
I didn't tell you, but I went with Paola to Murphy's Pub, where the British Pavilion guys, some of them were there down on I Drive, and I was like, I think I brought bad juju down here, and now I'm like, I don't think I can ever go watch a game down there ever again. Yeah, Alec
is a friend.
Paola and Alec do the Tiro Esquina pod for anybody who wants to listen in Spanish. Alex just got up and left like 4 times during the game. Just every time they scored, he couldn't have it too much.
Yeah,
I think, Luis, having been a Stoke fan, an England fan, and an Orlando City fan my whole life, I'm pretty used to watching my team get rubbed, and having to sit there and take it like punishment. And this one really hurt for sure. And even today, like the motivation to watch highlights and come on here and talk about it.
It's tough. It's tough.
It's not like
it's my birthday today, and I'm here.
Right, Luis is here on his birthday, having to talk about how terrible we are. And we do it because we love the game. But I think as a fan, it really just, it's hard to recover from that one. And obviously on social media, I'm out there promoting us and boosting us, and Florida's purple and everything, and not to sit there and take all the stuff back from the Miami fans, which is fine. I would do it the same way as well. But all of that, I think it just combines into that one was a really hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, because
right? I think it was probably one of the most depressed times I felt as an Orlando City
because
fan.
We had so much hype from everyone, even in the league, all the pundits. Even everyone was saying Orlando, is ready to make a name, and then you bring the big Kahuna in the room there, Messi, and he makes us look like we're you know a Lego team or something.
Oh yeah,
You
that's the
know,
thing. I got friends in England and friends around, and they were just like, "What happened, man? What happened?"
yeah, you should have seen the people from my
Uh,
other pod. They were ripping
yeah.
my ass.
Look,
I'm
I
sorry.
think that we knew that we could be competitive, and that's what really hurt. And somehow we got back to talking about those. We're supposed to be talking about Tigres, but we're back
Yeah.
on
So
Miami.
GoTube TV, it says like because we're Orlando fans, we have we deserve the right to tell the team when things are not doing so great. I do not ask to get rid of the coach or half the team, but to put some huevos on the field, right? Have some grit, right? JC
Oh, I
Beast.
know what huevos are. Don't you
Yeah,
worry, Luis.
yeah, JC Beast. Luis, did it hurt more than the River game? Yes. I will say why. Because Alianza Lima, I know we've never won. I mean, we've never really had a good Copa Libertadores ever. So I was already going. We're going to lose this game against River. you know, and so with Orlando, it's different because we were second. We were second last season, so it has different expectations right there. Guille Carlos, we are purple from the beating we got. Haha. Thank you so much, Carlos. This is here. Tank. Thank you, Tank. Ruben Perez, disgrace. How can we lose to dinosaurs? 5-0 AB. Beautiful Sharpei dog, I will have to say. Thank you so much, sir. This is Herman. Our whole team was atrocious, but we know this isn't the norm. That's right. And Herman went all the way to Miami
Oh my, I'm
with his
sorry.
with
Anybody
his
who went for
son.
that and had to drive back or get on the
Yeah,
train or deal with,
my respect.
yeah, or even just sitting there watching that in the stadium with having a Miami fans shout, sort of your terribles at you. But anyway, let's quickly do the Tigres lineup, Luis,
Sure.
and then call it a day because this is a long one. Sorry for anybody, but obviously we have a lot of feelings after that one, and we just want to talk to you guys and let you know all of our
Yeah,
thoughts.
I actually had it. I vented a lot. I think I let a lot of things go in this episode. So my apologies, guys. But
No, I think
it's
that's good,
just
Luis. We
if
both
I don't
need
get it
to.
out before tomorrow, because tomorrow I have to go all positive. Hopefully,
Luis
because
has to go and smile at the press
that's
tomorrow
right. And
after that.
you know. All right. So I guess we're ready to put Pedro again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right.
He just, he'll be better. I think Pedro is the first I would put on the list to react well. Like we've seen that from him
Yeah.
when he has a bad
Yeah.
game. The next game, he's like back on it.
Yeah. Dagger Dan,
Jensen, and then I think it's got to be Bracalo. I think
if he's
Schlegel
fit,
surely.
right?
Ah, even if he's not 100%,
I think
put
he
him
should
in
play.
before Schlegel because, and that's not. But like, dude, 2 of those goals or 3 of those
That's
goals
right.
were a lot to do with Schlegel's positioning. So we
Yeah.
just can't afford him for this game.
Double pivot again, or
I actually think we might see Smith at left back just out of a defensive need instead of Santos because I think playing Dagger and
okay.
Santos is kind of suicidal. That makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah. I think and that
Too
that back
attacking
four
almost.
guys needs to be static. They need to stay in position.
Yeah, we're
I
not
do not
moving.
want to see Bracalo right here.
Yeah.
like they need to stay in position. All right. So we got Cesar and Wilder.
I don't know. Maybe you'll drop one.
You think so?
It depends whether you think Felipe is worthy enough to get in there instead
I
of
don't
them.
know
Do you think
for
Felipe
this
is gonna
game.
because we saw we had no mid against Miami? Do you think Oscar reacts and says, "I'm gonna put some Felipe in there because I at least know that he's gonna run and close things down if the other two are not"? I don't know. It depends how much of a reaction Oscar wants to make from that and how much he will. I think Bercalo is like a natural change, right?
I think he's not going to change. I
You
think
don't
it's
think
going
he's
to.
gonna punish anybody? Is what I'm asking. I guess
I do think that maybe we're not going to see Ojeda. We're going to see Lodero.
that could be very likely. Yeah, again, because Champions League experience, and Ojeda was okay, but wasn't amazing last game.
and we're gonna see Facu and Angulo, and then up top, I think we're gonna see Muriel for the first time starting.
Yeah, I think Duncan really didn't provide a lot in the match.
He
And
didn't
obviously,
do.
it's
He
hard to
didn't.
do that when we're not playing well, but he
He
doesn't
turned off.
generate chances. Muriel can generate you a chance on his own. He's a different kind of striker.
So, and then
I
right
think it
here,
will be Wilder and Cesar.
yeah,
I
I think
just
it's gonna be Wilder and Cesar. Yeah,
that game was our mid was so bad, but I'm hoping that they can bounce back
now
and be the
if,
Wilder and Cesar that we know they can be.
I know that Oscar's lineup to be the protagonist of the attacking chances is with Ojeda right there instead of Lodero. But I think against teams like Tigres, Inter, maybe even LAFC, when we play against these teams, even Austin, maybe, you got to play a little bit different in the media. You got to be a little bit more conservative. And I think Lodero, it would be great to see. And then we already know the impact that, Ojeda can have off the bench in the attack. So, and also somebody that always makes an impact, especially in the MLS, is Ramiro Enrique coming off the bench for Angulo. So, right there, So the lineup is it? Are we set with this?
I think that's right. I think Santos for Smith is one that I can see him doing. Like we talked about Bercalo for Schlegel makes sense. Ladero for Ojeda I can see happening, and Muriel for Duncan I think is definitely going to happen. So that's what I would do. That's what Oscar I think will do.
So Galese right there up top. You have Dagerden, Bercalo, Jensen, Smith, Wilder, Cartagena, Cesar Araujo, and then as your 10, Nicolodero, and then on the left, Ivan Angulo, on the right, Facundo Torres, and then right up top, Luis Muriel. And what's the trick right here to play a team like Tigres or like Inter Miami? In my opinion, you gotta have a lot of grit, a lot of personality. Everyone needs to go and press for the ball. Everyone needs to go and defend. I think we saw a lot of players just kind of wandering around the field on the last game, expecting, oh, he's going to do his job, so I'm just going to let him be, right? No, I think everyone needs to go help each other out, play compact, stay consistent defensively.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the way for us to, if we beat Tigres 3 goals or more, it's a done deal. I think we go to Mexico and we hunker down, but I don't think that's going to go that far.
I think right now I just concentrate on not just having a good
not conceding
beginning of the game, not conceding, like get through the first 20 minutes and get a foothold in the game. And then let's see where we are. Like, we don't know where we're going to line up against them this year. Obviously, last year we had the 2 games. In the second game, we kind of knew. But we played a really good game against them last year. We got to do the same this time. We got to be defensive. We got to start well. And that's it. Do you want to predict the score for this one, Luis? I almost don't want to predict the score.
You don't want to predict the score?
I don't like predicting when I think we're gonna
All right. So first I'm gonna say this. The coach of Tigres spoke. I will say this real quick. They spoke today in press conference and he said the following. We will try to capitalize in the first half. We
start bad.
That's what he said. We're going to try to capitalize in the first half. They have a team that is very Latino. There's 2 Colombians, Argentinians, Uruguayans. So it is very easy for us to. It was very similar to what we have here in the MX.
We know how to get in their heads.
We are personally. I believe the Tigres has demonstrated that we turned the page pretty fast. I know that we lost against a tough rival like Toluca, but this team has this mental toughness that we can definitely turn the page around. I don't know how the other team is reacting. That's exactly what he said. But we'll go to try to get the result in the first half. That's what he said. So he feels confident that they're able to at least steal a 1-0 score at least out of Interco Stadium tomorrow. That's what the coach said, Tigres coach. Now, with that being said, what I believe it's going to happen tomorrow, I think tomorrow Orlando City um, is going to revindicate themselves, and I believe tomorrow Orlando City will win 2-0 in Interco Stadium. 2-0, and Gales is going to have a great game.
If I'm going to predict a win, it's going to be 1-0 to us, a Pappy special. But
I'm
even
content with
anything
that.
where they don't score 2 goals, I'll take. If they
Yeah,
just score 1 goal, I'll take that. Even if we don't score a
even if we
goal,
draw, it is a
because
good
at
result.
least there's a chance. If they score 2 goals, I really don't. I think it's over.
Look, Kara scored against Tigres, guys, off a bicycle kick.
That was nice.
So I think 2-0 Orlando. I think that's gonna be my prediction. And we're ready to turn the page. I'm sorry, guys, that we got so passionate on that Inter portion, but we just had to let all those toxins go for that game,
Yeah.
because I mean it was tough for me. I'll be honest. Never been in any other game that's been so tough to
I bet you're glad you
even
didn't go
watch.
down for the press box, at least.
Well, I thought I was reliving my 2015-2016 season pass holder experience that I had when I was in Orlando City when they first came to the MLS. I thought that I was reliving that at some point, but it was different eras. But in the end, it was one of the worst games they've had as a team.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Alrighty, on to a couple last things. Let's read Jeffrey O's comment. It seems like Orlando needs to hit rock bottom to get back on top. I wish that it wasn't
That's right.
the game, as OC should have a chip on their shoulder. But what can you do? Yeah, Jeffrey.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Sometimes you got to go down to come up, right? So let's look at it that way. On a bit more of an exciting piece of news and something fun for everybody, we've got 2 tickets giving away for Minnesota on Saturday. 2 wall tickets.
To see Inchy.
Yeah, you'll see. Well, you won't see Inchy. No Inchy.
I'm just joking.
You'll see some boys, but no Inchy. So Saturday, we got 2 tickets for the wall. We're going to be putting them on social media probably tomorrow when Luis gets around to it. And we'll put it out there for a couple days. The details will be in. You'll have to be a subscriber on YouTube, etc., like we've done before. So look out for that if you haven't got your tickets for Saturday's game, not tomorrow. And then that's it from us. Really, I just want to say thank you for everybody who's listening. If you're still listening now, you guys are awesome, and we appreciate you. Thank you for everybody for all your comments. You guys are great. Subscribe if you're on YouTube and hit the like button. Hit the notification bell to make sure you get all of the notifications Luis put out, highlights from the last game, press conferences, all that good stuff. Make sure you get those videos. If you're listening later on Apple or on Spotify, give us a follow and a 5-star rating. And you can find us on social media on Twitter as @LPO_podcast, Instagram @LPO_podcast, TikTok @LPO_podcast. We're also on Facebook as Loud and Proud Orlando. We also run a Facebook group that if you want to get involved in, it's called MLS Informed Discussion Group. Go ahead and apply to be in that, and we'll let you in. And we also have Twitter. I'm on Twitter as John Rollins OCSC. Luis is on Twitter @Pineda_OOL. And we've also got Paula, who's not here today, but she has Tiro Esquina on Twitter. You can see that on this screen at the moment for Spanish content. Well, that's a lot. We got a lot going on, which is awesome to see. Luis, any final thoughts from you before we get out of here?
No, just guys, keep positive. Just be there, support the team in tough times. That way, we gotta stay together. As a fan base and as people covering the club. And vamos Orlando. That's all I have to say.
Agreed. We just need a bit of luck, a bit of positivity, a bounce back, right? That's what we need. So as we do here in LPO, we'll sign off with a 1, 2, 3. Vamos Orlando.
Vamos Orlando. Have a good one.